Hey everyone, it's Penberthy here and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be talking about how to actually sell on your webinars, right? And in fact, the stuff I'm going to be talking about in this video can be applied to anything you're doing, whether it's you're selling on a video, you're selling on a webinar, you're selling via a Facebook ad, you're selling, it really doesn't matter, right? There's a certain way to sell. Like when it gets to the point you ask for the money, you present the offer, the thing that you have for them to purchase. How do you actually do that effectively? Well, there's a whole build-up process. I'm going to break that down for you with this infographic right now. So let's get into it. So what I've got right here, this is my webinar blueprint, okay? You can actually get this for free. I don't charge for it. There's a link in the description box and you can get this infographic and follow along. But this is basically my process for putting a webinar presentation together, all the way from phase 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can follow along and go through it as well. But here's the interesting thing. What I'm going to take you through with some of this stuff, right? I'm not going to go into too much detail because the training that accompanies this, I do charge for. So I'm going to kind of duck in and out here a little bit. But the overall process here, the 4 phases, this is essentially something that can be condensed or expanded to fit whatever situation you find yourselves in where you're selling something. So for a webinar, you're probably going to use this blueprint and stretch it out to be about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes, right? Maybe you were doing a stage presentation and you were going to sell something from a stage. Maybe you'd stretch this into 2 or 3 hours. If you are doing a sales video, then maybe you'd kind of shrink this into more like 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And if you're doing a Facebook ad or a YouTube ad and you want to use this process, then you might, condense it into about 5 minutes. Okay, so just understand this firstly, that this can be expanded or shrunk to fit the scenario that you're selling something. But here's the biggest thing that I want to talk about in this video when it comes to actually selling stuff, is that the majority of the buyer demand being when someone feels that feeling of, okay, I want to give this person some money. I want to become a customer. What they've got sounds too good. I want to jump in on it, right? That feeling where we're creating that buyer demand, that feeling of I'm ready to make a purchase, most of that happens before you ever even get to selling your product, or before you ever even get to describing what the offer is or asking for money. The buyer demand happens way earlier. So if we look at this blueprint here, phase 1 is setting the stage, grabbing their attention, letting them know they're in the right place, all that good stuff. Phase 2 is teaching them stuff for about, in this blueprint, about 40 to 45 minutes, like teaching them some training, giving them some ideas on how they can start moving forward with the desired outcome that they have. And then you get to phase 3, which is selling something. The interesting thing is, everyone focuses on phase 3, which I call let's sell something. That's the point where we make all the money, right? We introduce ourselves and we teach them stuff. Great. That's just because we're told we've got to do that, right? We've got to build that relationship. Great. But then phase 3, that's where we present the offer. That's where we present the bonuses. That's where we do the price drop. That's where we put in some testimonials, and that's where we actually ask for the money and reveal the real price and get them all excited to buy. Everything happens here. No. That's not where it happens. Most of your buyer demand will be created at phase 1 and phase 2. And I'm going to teach you some of this stuff here right now in just a minute. But you've got to understand this firstly, because if you miss this, you'll continue struggling to convert visitors into customers because you're focusing on actually the selling part and describing your offer. And that's not actually where the buyer demand is created. The feeling that you want to give someone who's on your webinar or watching your video or seeing your Facebook or YouTube ad, the feeling that you want to give them is during the content, during the training, during the video that you've put out or the beginning of your webinar, before you ever even get to the offer, you want them to be saying in their head, yeah, this sounds like cool stuff. Whatever they've got to offer, I think I'm going to want it. Like that's the feeling you're creating, so that then when you transition into the offer, not only is it easier for you to transition into the offer, but also it's actually going to be far more effective and you're going to convert far higher because now all that you're really doing is giving them the details of the offer. You're not really needing to sell anything. Selling being like having to be like a used car salesman and really fight for the money. Right? It's not what we're doing. They're already in a position where they love it. So how do we create that feeling? Well, let's start here. Phase 1. Again, whether it's a webinar, video, an advertisement, doesn't matter. Phase 1 is grabbing their attention, make sure they're in the right place, okay? And the biggest thing that we're doing here in phase 1 is actually addressing their pain points and addressing their desired outcomes. I've spoken about this on this channel and on these videos before, But understanding your visitor and understanding your ideal customer, where they're at, their pains, their desires, that is the key to them, to drawing them in to your business and wanting to give you some money. So I always start in phase one by readdressing the pains that they've got. So if you're in the fitness space, it's readdressing the fact that they're lacking in confidence, that they want to be able to, go for that run and last longer. They want to look in the mirror and feel good about themselves. They want this, they want that. You're describing all the desired outcomes again and describing the pain points that they've got and that they're experiencing, so that we can get them in a position where they go, okay, I'm in the right place. Phase one is done. The goal of phase one is that they feel they're in the right place and they've got something good to learn here, right? Then we move on to phase two. Phase two I call the wow, not the how. And again, I've spoken about this on the channel before, and I use this in my Facebook ads, I use it on my webinars, and pretty much anywhere that I'm teaching my audience, because we want to give them the wow, not the how. The wow is giving them an idea for something, or kind of educating them on something that they didn't know before, to give them an epiphany, or give them what we call a light bulb moment where a switch goes off. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that before, okay? But we're not teaching them specifically how to do it. Does that make sense? So for example, if I'm trying to sell my YouTube advertising course, okay? One of my training points on the webinar is not going to be how to log into YouTube and look at the different targeting options that you've got and how to select a targeting option and actually set up the ad, right? That would be the hows. And that means that they're probably not going to purchase our product because I've just told them how to go do something. So they're not ready to buy something now because I've just given them some homework. So we're not showing them the hows. The wow of that example is going to be teaching them and explaining why YouTube's targeting is so powerful, explaining why keyword traffic is the most targeted traffic on the entire internet, because you're attracting someone in the very moment that they want what it is that you're after. If you're selling a fitness product and someone's just typed in, how do I lose my belly fat? They are in that very moment searching for what it is you have to offer. You can do placement targeting, which is advertising your video on top of your competitors' videos. In the very moment that they're watching a video from your competitors, you can be advertising. And I would just explain how powerful that is, how exciting that is, and what an opportunity for them to be able to capitalize on that for themselves. You see how that, even probably in that moment, gave you some light bulbs, but you don't know how to implement it, okay? I'm still teaching you, right? I'm still giving you value, but I'm doing it in a way that is a wow, not a how. So that's what we're doing here. So I do 3 to 4 wow, not how points, and that might take 20, 30, 40 minutes. And at this point, the goal of the end of phase 2 is to get them to a point where they go, you know what, I believe this is possible for me. I believe this person has the results that I want, and I'm excited to move forward. That's the end of phase 2. So I'm creating more buyer demand. I am selling more of my products and services on my webinars and in my videos by building that buyer demand before I even get to the offer. So that then, by the time I say, hey, have you enjoyed this web class so far? Right? And maybe if I'm doing it live, people will say, yes, 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 yes. And I'll say, would you mind if I tell you about a program that I've got that I think will really help you? And everyone will say, yes, 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 tell me. Now I'm just going into the details. I'm saying, hey, here's what it's called. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here are the bonuses. Here's the price. And the feeling that I want my attendees to be feeling already is, okay, great, yeah, just get to the price. Just tell me where I can buy it. Right? That's the feeling we're trying to cultivate. And that happens in phase 1 and phase 2. Okay? So please, please, please remember this in whatever area of marketing you're going into, whether it is a webinar funnel, whether it is a YouTube or a Facebook ad, whether it's a video sales letter, it really doesn't matter. The teaching part is really important, but it's got to be the wow, not the how. And that's what's going to create that buyer demand, because you're not showing them how-tos, so they're not going to leave your webinar going, yeah, well, the offer sounded good, but I think I could take a stab at it myself. It's got to be wow, not how, and the setting of the stage, you've got to touch on their pains and their desires so they know that they're in the right place and that they feel understood. That's another key thing. It's like your audience have to feel understood. If they feel understood, then they'll give you money. Okay? So anyway, hopefully this lesson was helpful for you. I thought it'd be worth addressing because there's so much, misunderstanding in this area, of selling. And if you do it the way that I've just taught you here, you'll find that I don't even really need to do much selling. Okay, in fact, I hate it. I hate the idea of being a sleazy salesman, and I just don't have to do it because I go out there into the marketplace, provide value first, but I do it with the wow, not the how. Okay? So hopefully that was helpful for you, and here's what I'd like you to do. And in the interests of teaching you this process, you'll see right now, I don't have to be salesy, but I do want to tell you about something that I've got going on. So there's a link in the description box to a free web class where I'm going to dive even deeper into this stuff. If you want to learn more about webinars, if you want to learn more about how you can build a webinar funnel for your business that's wildly profitable, I'd love to teach you more about it. And there's a free web class down there that you can register for. And on that web class, I also open up enrollment into a program that I've got that I think you'll really enjoy as well. I'll also leave a link down there to get access to this blueprint. It's absolutely free and you can follow along. And finally, if you enjoy this piece of content that I've just put here, then leave me a comment down below. I love to read all the comments, and I'd love that, for you to leave a comment. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're constantly putting out new videos, and make sure you hit that bell notification to be notified of our new videos that we're putting out. All right, with that, appreciate you. Hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in a future video.